Insane War Tactics, Part 3. During the Vietnam War, the U.S. conducted a psychological warfare scheme known as Operation Wandering Soul. The Army played creepy sounds and voices through loudspeakers to represent the spirits of dead Viet Cong soldiers. Here's an example of a recording. In 2013, Sweden submerged a neon sign of a gay soldier to deter Russian submarines from entering their waters. Using sonar, the sign emits the message "This way if you are gay" in Morse code. There have been no reports of Russian submarine sightings ever since. Insane War Tactics, Part 2. In 1944, the Ghost Army was created as the first tactical deception unit in the U.S. Army. They used inflatable tanks, fake radio traffic, and loudspeakers blaring sound effects to throw off their enemies. The Ghost Army was able to make a force seem 30 times larger than its actual size, often sending the Nazis retreating. A U.S. naval destroyer once won a battle against a Japanese submarine by throwing potatoes at them, which the Japanese thought were grenades and quickly retreated. Ancient Persian leader Cambyses II once used cats to defeat an Egyptian army. Knowing that the Egyptians viewed felines as sacred, he brought hundreds of cats to the front lines and had his soldiers paint them on their shields. The Egyptians simply refused to fight and were easily defeated as a result. Insane War Tactics, Part 1. When going to battle against enemies riding elephants, the Indian Rajputs would put fake trunks on their horses, making them appear as baby elephants which the enemy's elephants refused to attack. During the Cold War, CIA agents used a secret method of communication based on how their shoelaces were tied. In 1973, the U.S. Army developed an anti-tank grenade by hollowing out a Nerf football and filling it with explosive charges. But the ball never made it to the battlefield since the explosives gave it an unpredictable flight. Many warships used to be painted like optical illusions. The purpose of this dazzle camouflage was not to conceal the ship, but rather to mislead the enemy by making the ship's speed and range more difficult to estimate, much to the same effect as patterns seen on zebras, giraffes, and jaguars. These are some of the craziest World War II tactics that actually worked. The Nazis used crooked picture bombs specifically intended for officers. When retreating, they left paintings on the walls and skewed them to the side, so when they were straightened, they were rigged to explode. The Ghost Army was created in 1944 as the first tactical deception unit in the U.S. Army. They used inflatable tanks, fake radio traffic, and even built phony headquarters to confuse the Nazis. A U.S. naval destroyer won a battle against a Japanese submarine by throwing potatoes at them, which the Japanese thought were grenades. The Royal Air Force dropped matchbooks into enemy territory containing instructions on how a soldier could fake an illness. Once Nazi command heard of this, they stopped sending their troops home when they said they were sick. Therefore, many genuinely sick troops were sent into combat, resulting in even more disease and death.